Okay, this is Walter White and Martha White. So they're trying to keep the prices low, keep people around. So how many people exist in keeping food prices affordable? Okay, so nobody made money, but they're trying to keep people around. This is Scotland with their book, how they thought. So Scottish book, right? Well, they're Scotland, right? Just at first, each escape seemed to him a separate miracle, not to be repeated. But after a little, finding himself still afloat, began to gain a little confidence. The corner of his mind was freed for snatches of thought. When hell did I know enough to leave the dinghy, muttered John. He thought the dinghy might make trouble. Wished he were on a dinghy, which bobbed gaily along after perfectly dry, apparently having a good time. God, I'm glad I didn't loosen the furl on the mainsail, was his next thought. It's a boat, a sailboat, right? That would have been made a sweet mess. And presently, with a certain grim satisfaction, anyway, we're sure traveling. Clacton Point was fairly leaping toward him. It looked bigger every time the waves lifted him to where he could see. Nothing to see from the towers or the mountains of water. Nevertheless, the trails were short of friendly, not so much wind. Cat seemed to relax. John, too, could find the muscles on his back and neck, shift his grip on the tiller, kind of breathing space. Like between the rounds of a fight, only this respite was so brief. It was as though they were hurled upward by a mighty hand in the fury of the wind. Tillicum reeled under the shock. What a girl! That a girl, muttered John in applause. Only a sailor could appreciate fully the stoutness of hull and spar, canvas and bolt rope, and withstood so gallantly these repeated and mighty blows. Craft less sturdy would have gone to pieces on the first half mile. It's a book, right, where they're trying to save food, keep the prices affordable. Try to keep people around. This is a boat. See, we have a river here for people to write about what kind of boat, things, right? Writing about stuff, right? Just a book where you have all kinds of boats to buy and sell. People have accidents. Drinking on a boat is dangerous. Smoking and drinking is more dangerous than eating ice cream. Grandpa lived in 94 because he'd eat ice cream. He liked ice cream. However, he was getting there. He was going to get there. His exultation revealed to him that he had really been doubtful. No matter what he said, damn fool, John apostrophized himself, without quite knowing why. By now, naturally his wife, though, for each crest, horizontal sheets of water, swept the little craft from stern to bow, not rain, sea water, blown from the tops of the waves by the sheer strength of wind. John had never seen anything like that. He had not imagined anything like that. That he discovered was why he was cursing himself. Ought to have known enough to have put on his slicker. Okay? Boats, you can actually have an accident. Like if you're drinking and smoking, you can actually die in a boat in an accident with bad stuff, right? Just because the sky was clear never occurred to him. Well, too late now. It was down in the cabin, but it might as well have been in the North Pole. If only Len were along or somebody. Must be a mess down below. The way things were banging around, ought to have his sense enough to snug down before he started. To hell with it. No time for that now. I'm cold, discovered John. And it was not just ordinary shivering cold, sometimes more deadly, the kind that stabs inside you. Works on the surface, it puts you out. Knew with a dull astonishment the rigging was gray with ice. Salt water, freezing, marveled John. Wonder if I can stick it. Misgivings pounced on him unaware. He threw it out. By God, got to stick it. There was a Clacton Point, and under Italy, no more big waves, only a confusion of water. Cautiously, John shifted course, stealing for the edge of disaster as the ketch turned a quarter toward the seas. Glided into the nearest strip of shelter. The cat seemed to shake herself like an animal in a storm. John, too, shook himself and rose stiffly to his feet. Clacking was only a mile or so away now. He felt let down and though he were already there. He trimmed the sheets of the new course and resumed his place at the tiller. In the brief truce before he entered the rough waters in the up channel, the front of his mind thought of Sally. She had been at the back of it all along. Glenn ought to be with her by now. He refused to contemplate the return journey, except that the thought of her giving him strength for it, he'd get somebody to help him sail back. A blast of wind and a rush of sea smote him in the face as he drew out from the shelter to the point. The Tillicum staggered, checked, heeled far over. Level sheet of almost solid water swept her deck. John's comfortable feeling of arrival dropped from under him. He had not thought of this. He had really been too numb to think about anything. This woke him up with a vengeance. Clacton was only a mile away. He could see the cannery buildings and the floats, but such a mile upwind and the tide was throwing out. Okay, so the cannery, the fishing, right? They have fish here. This is a cannery where they're trying to sell like halibut, right? Here we have people stocking trout like it's a job. They're stocking trout for fishing. Okay, this is a book. People want to be so they're looking for halibut in a cannery, right? Trying to sell halibut in a cannery. They stock trout here. From there was a job to go fishing, right? Stocking halibut. Canning halibut, they're stocking trout for sport fishing to be celebrities, okay? These celebrities in fly fishing or trout fishing here. You say it's like a movie star job to be a celebrity trout fishing. This is glamorous, okay? Books about being a sport hunter. It was like a river runs through a celebrity, a sports star. It's not good that you have to leave her alone, said she. Yes, you should get back. You should not come away. But the doctor insisted, John. She's not alone. There's Lem. The men in the room made no comment. They stood stolid, like so many graven images. They stared at him blankly, as though they did not understand. He turned back in despair to the women. She will be all right. This is like a settler from like the Pilgrim's White, right? Settlers like Pilgrims from Plymouth Rock. This is like White, the survivor. She's still a survivor, right? There's only 5 women who survived the Pilgrims, right? This is like the survivor. Try some help. So fishing, you can actually die being a drunk. This is like a survivor from the Pilgrims. Presbyterians try to go fishing, huh? So yeah, they could actually die being a drunk on a boat, like Murdoch. Murdoch, people actually die because they're drunks on a boat. That can actually happen. She will be all right. Mrs. Oldstrom laid her hand on his arm. It is not so bad. I have had 3. The doctor, cried John desperately. It was like struggling in a nightmare. Mrs. Oldstrom shook her head slowly. Doc ain't here, blurted out one of the men. He's gone away. Gone away, gasped John. For 10 seconds he stood, dazed. By his new blow. Well, where's he gone? He recovered himself. He got him wherever he was. This time there was too many answers. As though his spell had been broken, Jimmy Bruce had fetched him. John made out. 2 days ago, something about Jimmy's squaw or something. Up toward Tennessee, they thought. It was vague. They were vague. One thing they were agreed. He won't be starting back till it blows itself out. They were confident of that. Don't anybody know where Jimmy's place is? Persisted John in despair. Nobody knew. John's face was turned grim again. Then you'll have to come, he told Mrs. Oldstrom. But Oldstrom himself intervened. She'll not, be negatively roughly. There's no sense to it. You'll never get there. you won't get the other side of the point. Don't be one crazy fool. What's the good of that to anybody? And I got 3 kids, he added defensively. John pleaded. Will another man make it worth your while? I've got money. Money's no good to be drowned, man, retorted old Strum brutally. Because his conscience stirred, he stared at John with Scandinavian obstinacy. The outside door had been opening from time to time. Permit another spectator to slip in. The room was now jam full. They said the 52,000 Mexicans took people's jobs in Iowa. So they could be celebrities, where they move all these big, huge museum. All their paintings from like Topeka, like a huge museum for Josh Kincaid. He had an uncle who was making paintings, painted like this huge museum in Iowa. After they lost their jobs at Tyson, people who work there can put together a huge museum from Topeka. You can be the Andy Warhol with George Rodriguez, the Puerto Ricans, right? You have a Pepsi ad, right? George Rodriguez says Pepsi. You have this huge museum of his artwork. Pepsi and Coca-Cola. So Pioneer had a business to keep people's prices low with Martha White, right? They're pilgrims, I guess. Walter White was in prison because that's what you do with people up here. So we're asked to pay people's bills with people in mental wards and prisons because we look like a migrant worker to you. Yeah, we're supposed to go pay your bills in prison. So you try to keep your prices low. Pioneer. Try to keep prices low. Feeding animals. Feeding furs. They said they made money killing animals with furs. Fur animals, they sold guns and gunpowder because they made money with Astor. Whole book about Lady Astor was killing animals with fur, with gunpowder from DuPont and like guns from like Smith & Wesson and Remington. Whole book about it. About Astor likes to kill animals, so we had to go make a book about it. That's how they made their money. Book about Astor with their animals. They had some gunpowder shoot with like Smith & Wesson. That was what their book was about.